A show created by the fans, for the fans. We are your home for Ohio State football coverage all year long. The Scarlet and Gray Podcast, a Network 216 production. Live weekdays on the Network 216 YouTube channel. Send us all your questions and comments on Twitter at @VSG_podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tyler Johnson, Jordan Dalton, and Nick Leisure.
Buckeye Nation, welcome to today's episode of the Scarlet and Gray Podcast. I am Tyler Johnson, once again going solo for this one. And so I really appreciate you guys tuning in to your Ohio State versus Wisconsin game day preview episode. Before we get into any of it, if you guys would just take a quick second, drop a like on the video. Really appreciate all of you guys to show support for the show. But you want to make sure you don't miss any of it on YouTube. So not only like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to go over there, give us that 5-star review. What that does, that really helps push the show out to those who have not yet seen it. And kind of like I told you guys, unfortunately, we had a bunch of Michigan fans that infiltrated that and caused some issues for us there. So, again, if you guys would go over and drop us that 5-star review, we really would appreciate it. As always, Scarlet and Gray Podcast is proud to be partnered with Wedgewood Estates in Mansfield, 600 South Trimble Road. Wedgewood Estates, the area's premier senior residential community. Stop in for a tour. Schedule one online at wedgwoodseniorliving.com. That is wedgwoodseniorliving.com. And this weekend, the Buckeyes travel to Madison to Camp Randall Stadium to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin currently 2-4, ranked 14th in the Big Ten. It's not a good year for the Badgers this year. And so normally you would think to yourself, okay, well, this is a game that Ohio State could potentially be on upset alert for. I'm not here to say one way or another. I'm just not going to do that. But I would say there's a good chance that the Buckeyes are in good shape for this one. So anyway, we are going to get into it here. Something to keep in mind, this is going to be a 3:30 kickoff. So I know we've been moving around all kinds. We're big noon. We had 7:30 game against Minnesota. Then we had a big noon kickoff. Now we have a 3:30 kickoff. So at least everyone was kind of sick of big noon kickoff, but now it seems like we're getting a little bit of a break. At least we have recently. So very good to see that. Anyway, what can we expect in this game? Well, when you look at Wisconsin, they have battled a lot of injuries at the quarterback position. They played three quarterbacks: Danny O'Neal, Hunter Simmons, Billy Edwards Jr. They brought in Billy Edwards Jr. and Danny O'Neal as transfers, one from San Diego State and Billy Edwards Jr. from Maryland. So Billy Edwards Jr. has been hurt most of the year. He was the presumptive starter. And he pretty much has not played all year for the most part. It's been a lot of Danny O'Neal. Hunter Simmons recently took over at quarterback, but I mean, the passing numbers basically speak for themselves. Wisconsin quarterbacks have thrown a combined 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, completing only 62% of their passes. It's not good. I mean, what's happening to Luke Fickell, it's unfortunate because as Buckeye fans, I feel like we're rooting for him to succeed, being a former Buckeye, being on staff for as long as he has, being the interim head coach here. I was rooting for him in Cincinnati. He did very well when he was at Cincinnati. It just has not translated over to really rebuilding Wisconsin. I have some theories on why that is. Some say resources. I'm not close enough to the Wisconsin program to know either way if the lack of resources are an issue there. Clearly, they're struggling with quarterbacks in the portal. I mean, even with the ones they're bringing in, no one's just really been effective there. That's been a big problem. Having 3 quarterbacks and 4 centers, though, this season, that has been an issue. And, it's tough to win like that. But at the same time, kind of like I've said to other people, there are other coaches that are winning more games with less. However, you're in the Big Ten. It's a tough situation all the way around. It really is. transfer quarterbacks they brought in, neither one of them have played well. They can't really run the ball anymore effectively, averaging 3.1 yards a carry. When you think of Wisconsin, you think of a physical football team. They're going to run the ball with 3, sometimes 4 running backs. They're going to wear you down. They have a massive offensive line, talented running backs. They'll use some play action. They'll have decent quarterback play to average, which has normally been enough for them to win 8 or 9 games every year. You could even say 10 in some seasons, 11. But I feel like Luke Fickell, what he did is he tried to change this offense when he came in and make it more of a spread look, and I just don't think that suits Wisconsin. They don't have the players for it. Now, again, he needs to bring in the players to suit that system, but when you're a program like that and you've succeeded at one thing for so long, it's hard to just make that adjustment. It really is. So I think that's part of the problem. And I posted a question on Twitter at the SG_podcast. Does Luke Fickell get fired if Wisconsin gets blown out in this game? A lot of people are saying no. The thing is, and people are citing it due to the fact that you're going to lose your recruiting class. This is what people need to understand. The transfer portal opens whenever a head coach is fired, regardless of when that happens or they take a new job. That portal opens, regardless if you're a new recruit or not. So at that point, you're kind of delaying the inevitable as far as trying to put together a recruiting class at the last minute. Would you rather do it at the last minute, or would you rather try and put one together later on here in the season? So he probably won't be fired. I'm seeing a lot of people say that too. I saw one person say after the Oregon game he will be, because they play Ohio State and Oregon back to back, and they don't want to fire him before that. I mean, either way, it feels like a situation where it's dead man walking, essentially. Like he's going to be fired. Like everybody knows. I mean, he of course will have the opportunity. If they somehow go on a winning streak here, he might find a way to keep his job. But you look at that schedule, there's no way that he will be able to do that. And I just think he's going to end up being gone pretty soon. That's kind of the sad part. And, I feel bad for Luke Fickell. I think the most likely scenario, some people are saying he comes back on coaching staff at Ohio State. Luke Fickell's probably going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere at a Power 4 conference. He might even get another head coaching job from some school out there, like lower level school, if he potentially wants that. But we'll see what he ends up doing. I don't think he's coming back to Ohio State. I just don't. I mean, again, unless there's nothing out there, but I just think there will be. I do. I think someone's going to want him as their defensive coordinator, and he's still pretty young. He's going to have opportunities. So I would love to see him back. I don't think it's going to happen. Someone said he comes back, replaces Larry Johnson. I don't think he wants to be a defensive line coach coming off being a head coach at this point in his career. Could be wrong. We'll see what happens with Luke Fickell. But when you look at the rest of the Wisconsin team, it's truly just not very good. Like, I'm just being as blunt as possible. It's not very good. You're having a lot of injuries. The offensive line hasn't played well. You've had a lot of different starters there, and it just really has not worked out. They're an underdog for the rest of their games. Maybe like they can find a way to pull off an upset. I mean, crazier things have happened in college football. Like we've seen it. Crazier things have happened. But I'm not expecting them to win another game. And Ohio State has them in every category. They really do. And I just don't see a scenario where that changes at this point. But anyway, like I'll just read off some stats just so people can get familiar. It's probably going to be Hunter Simmons at quarterback, 329 yards, 5.6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Danny O'Neal might see a little bit of time in this game. He's got 640 yards, 70% completion percentage, 7.5 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, sacked 13 times. Dylan Jones leads them in rushing. He's got 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.2 yards to carry. Darian Dupree spells him, 169 yards, 3.8 yards to carry, 0 touchdowns. In the receiving game, they do have 4 guys that are kind of close with Vinny Anthony the second. My apologies, Lance Mason, our former Buckeye Jaden Ballard and Trish Kikahana. I might be pronouncing his name wrong. If I do, I apologize. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Again, nothing really stands out to you much. This is a game I truly expect Ohio State to dominate. And if they don't, it's going to be a little frustrating. So we'll end up seeing how this shakes out. As of right now, the Buckeyes are currently favored by 25.5 points. This has been changing frequently. I think they opened up at 27.5 or 28.5. So it's definitely been changing. As far as in this game, I just want to see Julian Sane. I want to see them unleash him more. I feel like people are talking about the offense being conservative. He's taking shots down the field. We've been spoiled. I think we've just been spoiled in the past. I think he's done a fine job, a very good job. It's kind of hard to criticize. Outside of, maybe he's missed a couple wide open deep balls. Like, really? We're going to criticize that? Kid's been phenomenal. Ohio State's expecting Lorenzo Styles Jr., Edric Houston back in this game, so that'll be a huge lift for the Buckeyes. We'll see if anyone else ends up missing time on Saturday. I know that Houston and Styles being out kind of surprised some people. That's just kind of how Ryan Day does it. We've talked ad nauseum on this show about how he handles that situation. I want to see Bo Jackson, see how he looks. Ryan Day said he's good to go. But, I want to see if he's still nursing that ankle injury that clearly was affecting him against Illinois. Later in the game, Ryan Day said he could have played if needed, but they just held him out due to precautionary reasons. So we'll see if there's anything there. But Julian Sane, I'm expecting 300 yards, expecting 3 touchdowns. That doesn't mean we'll get it. That's my expectation, though, in this game. I don't see how Wisconsin scores in this game, like even a field goal, unless they just get lucky the first drive of the game and drive it down, kind of like you see from time to time with the Buckeye defense, kind of almost maybe feeling them out a little bit. So, I'm just not expecting a lot. I'm really not. I'm expecting a blowout. I really am. If you're looking at Wisconsin defense, there's nothing there as far as that you think they're going to really affect the Buckeyes with. They don't get a ton of sacks. Like, they don't force a lot of turnover. They're just, disrespectfully, they're just not a good football team. There's no part of them that's a good football team. They're probably, I'd say they're the worst team in the Big Ten this year. That's what it looks like. And, Buckeyes favored by 25.5. I'm expecting a 52-0 game. I know that's crazy. And normally I don't say the Buckeyes are going to post a shutout. We're going to post 50 points. This is a type of game where I could see it happen. And when you're playing against a team like Wisconsin, you need to dominate, start to finish. No let up. You need to finish them. I want to see Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham a little bit more in this game. Why? Because Ryan Day suggested that they need to step up as the season goes on. Maybe they start to get a little bit of playing time. I am really curious about that to see if they are given more playing time in this game, because this would be the type of game you could do that. But overall, I'm expecting the Buckeyes dominant win in another game closer to Luke Fickell being fired by Wisconsin. So, again, it's unfortunate for Luke Fickell, but it's kind of just the way it goes. You have to have results, and he just has not been very successful at Wisconsin to this point. And this season is most likely going to be the nail in the coffin for him. But again, Ohio State 52. I'll say 56 actually. Wisconsin nothing. You know what? I'll change it. 49-0 Ohio State. The reason I say 49, I think we'll end up putting our backups in and just kind of doing our inside zone up the middle. So anyway, that's your Ohio State versus Wisconsin game day preview. Just as a reminder, guys, if you would, drop a like on the video. Help push the show out to those that have not yet seen us on YouTube. But also, take that 3-5 seconds it takes. Search the Scarlet and Gray podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Drop us that 5-star review. Michigan fans infiltrated that. We want to make sure we can fix that. But also, you can subscribe to this show on those platforms, which we'd really appreciate. If you did, we will talk to you guys all again soon. And, of course, as always, go Buckeyes.